Okay, guys, it's Kyle T. Mosley from the Black Sports Insiders. I'm here with Miss Keisha Kelly from the Black College Experience. How you doing, Keish?
I'm good. I'm good. My eyes are still open, so
Yeah, we were just talking about the time change. If that has affected you guys, let us know because it sure has affected us. I
yeah,
don't know what's going on.
it normally wouldn't get to me, but it's like the weather and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah. It's a little bit different this
it
time.
is. It
I don't know
is.
if it's the old age for me, but it's the young age for you. I know that. But you were partying hard. You were out there having fun in Atlanta with the First Take crew. And also you had some shenanigans with Morehouse College and Clark Atlanta. We're not going to talk about Morehouse, but we're just going to let that one go. But anyway, it was a fun-filled weekend. Look, guys, week 11, great. Week 12, I think is going to be jam-packed with excitement. We're going to have a lot of great topics to talk about tonight. We got Coach Johnnie Cole is going to be in the building. He's going to talk to us. You know, Coach, you got to chop it up and let us know what's real. But we also have Mr. Wilton C. Jackson II. What's going on? Wilton Charles, I should say.
What's going on, Kyle? How you doing?
Wilson Charles. I'm never telling you my middle name then.
Yes, you did.
Keisha J. All we know is
J.
J right now.
But you don't know what the middle name is.
Jarrell, right?
Jamil. See,
Jamil. I know it's a Emil, a L, a E. We know he had some flair to it, but it's great, man. And I think we're going to have some fun to talk to Coach Johnnie Cole tonight. I know he's in the building. He's waiting for us to be able to pipe him in. But before we go there, guys, condolences to the family of Ryan Quinney, the young man who passed away from the accident with Mississippi Valley State University's football team, as well as praying for the Tuskegee family and all of the things that were happening there with their homecoming, the shooting. It's very unfortunate to be able to have that's the time you want to have a good time, guys. You don't want to be shooting up and going crazy and doing all things like that. But those are just a couple of the instances that we would like to bring to your attention. And Wilton, as well as Keisha, looks like your teams are headed on a collision course in Atlanta for the time being, but there's still some football that has to be played this week, especially in Montgomery, Will.
Oh, it is, and that's why you put Jack State on the spot right off the top. I see.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we don't want to go in a deeper dive, but I just wanted to just kind of put that out there.
Yeah. No, it's essentially the game of the week. It definitely specifically in the SWAC East. The game has been scheduled on Jackson State's calendar for a while for multiple reasons. Obviously, Alabama State was picked to win the SWAC East. So that was number one. Number two, it's been pretty much a collision course. Initially, it was Jackson State FAMU. After Jackson State beat FAMU, the next biggest team on the schedule was Alabama State. And having, heard different things from players and what they're saying about this particular game, it's basically championship week now. You're getting an Alabama State team that's going to obviously bring a lot of defense. Their quarterback that, most people know by now, 4th, 5th string quarterback, he's not, lately hasn't necessarily been playing like a 4th or 5th string quarterback. So he's going to be, somebody that Jack State's going to have to keep an eye on. Of course, the rushing attack. And it's really 1 versus 2 in most of the major categories. Like you're talking about number 1 defense in Alabama State versus Jackson State's rush offense.
Yeah. Really good offense or really good play from especially the guy who's a front runner for the Offensive Player of the Year in the SWAC, Mr. Irv Mulligan. What we like to say here at Black Sports Insiders, in Irv, we trust. We really believe in him and believe in what he can be able to do for those guys. But let's talk to Keisha about these cardiac cats. The Jaguars have just been laying it out on the line, giving you guys a lot of thrills and drama. The third overtime win for Coach Graves in his rookie season. He's done a tremendous job also. He and TC Taylor, those guys could be neck and neck for Coach of the Year in the SWAC as well. Talk about how this team has been so resilient.
And so you said it, the Cardiac Cats, they are 5 overtimes. I talked to Coach about that. I said, we can't keep doing that. You got the Jaguar Nation in a panic. Like we refuse to do this every week. I didn't know because I didn't know the game started at 2:00. So I was wondering, I was like, how do we have so many overtimes? It was like, oh yeah, the game started at 2:00. And I'm like, oh, so that's why we playing neck to neck. And so it just happens that we just made one more play. That's how I look at it. It was one more play. We made one more play than Bethune-Cookman. But the thing is that this is not a Bethune-Cookman team that we expected. So that means that this team was playing at a different caliber than what we expected. And so when you get these games late in the season, they can be trap games. You can't overlook any team. I don't care what the record is. You can't overlook any team. And so what we saw was they gave us 5 overtimes. And I'm like, even going into, this upcoming game, you win against University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, you clinch the West. But I think just like Coach Graves thinks, you don't look at it as the title being clinched. You look at it as this the next game. It's the next game. You need to win the next game. And I know everybody's excited about clinching the division before we go into Bayou Classic. But for me, it's win the game. And, I got a chance to talk to him and Coach Hampton. And they talked about it, and Coach Hampton talked about what he was, worried about. I'm just like, I just want to win the game. That's just win the game. Just win the game, guys.
Yeah. Well, both of these teams are facing some dangerous opponents, right? Anytime you see what Mekhi Higgins as well as Giovanni Gibson can be able to do in Pine Bluff, and as well as you can see what Kareem Key is doing out there with Alabama State and those guys in Montgomery, man, it's going to be one of those games you don't want to eat the rat poison, right? You don't want to get there and get eaten up and eaten alive. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring in Coach a little earlier right now. Coach Johnnie Cole, what's going on, Cole?
Oh, man, look, it's football time, championship week. I get a little scratch in my hand and got to remind myself I ain't coaching no more. I'm on the other side.
You're ready, Coach. I feel you.
It's been interesting. It's been real interesting this year. Very interesting. A lot of parity, a lot of, ain't nobody really sticking out but to Jackson State to me. So,
you heard that first. You heard what Coach said now.
The numbers say it, averaging 36 points a game, over 400 yards offense. Defense is ranked number 2 in the state. In the conference. They've been blowing everybody out except for Grambling, but you got to attribute that to 5 turnovers because you see how Grambling don't fare it out. And anybody, they had 4 turnovers the other week and still, ran up the score. So TC Taylor and his group has been very impressive.
Very impressive. Okay. Look, we're going to go to commercial early so we can give Coach a lot of time to kind of talk and school us out here. If you guys got some comments for Coach, put it in the chat room. We're going to put it on the line as well so you guys can be able to interact with Coach Johnnie Cole. Coach, man, we're going to talk about those Tigers too. We talk about the Texas Southern Tigers a little bit later. I know you got a lot to say there. I'm not, you got a lot to say, Coach. That's all I'm going to say about that. And we'll just, let's go to break right quick and we'll be right back.
Wow. Hey, Jay, this project might need a bit of zhuzhing. Holla back, Warren.
Please let me know your thoughts. Best regards, Warren?
I am genius.
Come to McDonald's and treat yourself to the Grandma McFlurry today.
So I trust everyone's read the prospectus. Mm-hmm. Lance? Why don't you take us through it?
let's get into the prospectus.
Okay.
I am genius.
Something amazing is happening here. Climate researchers are weathering a data storm. That's because CDW transformed their devices and infrastructure with Lenovo ThinkPads and powerful edge-to-cloud solutions, delivering faster insights and increased performance, giving them the scale to stay ready for whatever's next. Make amazing happen. Lenovo and CDW.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Okay, Kyle T. Mosley here with Keisha Kelly as well as Wilton C. Jackson II. We got our honored yes, Coach Johnnie Cole in the house. Coach, and we were talking a little bit before the break about the SWAC, but let's talk about 2 championship games that's coming up on the schedule. And I know HBCU Go is handling one of those games with Charlie Neal and those guys, and John Kelly taking over for the CIAA championship, right? And talk about the job that Virginia Union as well as Virginia State has done this season. Both of those guys had a very close game last game. It could have come down to Virginia Union tying the game up if the young man caught the reception, wide open reception in the touch, and could have been a touchdown to kind of equal the score. But it's a rematch. And sometimes when you have those back-to-back games, it goes to the ones who lost the game. They got a lot to prove. So how do you see this one going down over there at the CIAA championship?
Well, first, if you know something about the CIAA, those 2 programs and their universities and athletic directors are committed to both of those programs. That's why every year one of them is either going to bounce up in there or they're going to be playing for it. So, it's going to be a very, very good game. I can't say enough about Coach Frazier. He's been here, he's been in these big time games, so I definitely got to get an edge to him.
Oh, really? Okay. So you think Trojans are going to come out?
Yes. He's got a good program over there and he's doing some good things, and it's just his time.
Okay. Will, any questions for Coach?
Coach, when you look at this game, and Cal kind of alluded to it already, it's hard to beat a team twice. And with these teams knowing each other the way that they do, what do you think would be the biggest X factor in either team winning this game?
Well, one thing is, people don't understand sometimes there's 3 phases of a game. It's offense, defense, and special teams. And you can't make those mistakes in special teams. You got to be good in special teams. When playing, these teams are so evenly matched, that could be a key to it. And the other part, is 2 things to winning the championship. That's great run game and great defense. So they kind of evenly matched on that. But I think that Virginia State offensively is a little better than Virginia Union.
Keish?
Okay, so I'm going to say I disagree with Wilton saying that it's hard to beat a team twice because it happens with Southern. So I'm going to disagree there. Absolutely going to disagree there. Absolutely going to disagree there.
That's just a saying that people say.
I'm just going to absolutely disagree with him. But my question is, you picked Virginia State. Why not Virginia Union?
Well, to be honest, and I'm a little selfish about it, Frazier is one of the only head football coaches that beat me 3 times.
Okay.
So I know, how he prepares, how he get his team up for these type of games. And again, I tell you, I'm a little favorite that, he'll have them up and ready to go.
Okay. Well, and when you look at the Panthers, they still have that young man, Jada Byers, back there, who's a tremendous running back. And going against the Trojans, seems like the Trojans just took it to the Panthers this past weekend. Coach, you saying that's going to be a repeat, and I don't know about that one, man. I just want to see a great game, but I don't have a dog in this fight. But when it comes to Coach Frazier, you guys went together. I mean, went to battle when you were at Texas Southern, and he was at Prairie View many times, right? And it just seems as though he did have those guys ready to rock and roll at home. So,
yeah. Well, like I said, he beat me 3 times. I had to beat Broadway twice. You know what type of coach Broadway
he was a great coach. Yeah.
And, and I'll just say one thing. He called me. I was just coming into the conference, and he already had his team established. But, he was that good at Bowie State as well. Coach Frazier's, we'll call him Dr. Frazier now.
Yes.
He's big on defense. He's big on run game. I think when you have those two working hand in hand, I think he's going to another championship or a championship for him in the team.
Okay. Let's turn our attention to the SIAC. Well, and I think you got a little favoritism here as well. Just slight favoritism a little bit. But you had Coach Shade as well as Coach Keaton on your show last night. Great show, number one. You guys got to follow Coach Johnnie Cole and his coach's walk, man. You guys do a great job, you and Rocky. But talk about Coach Shade, Miles. Past couple of seasons looked like they were about to get there, but they ran into a buzzsaw called Benedict, and they weren't able to get over the hump. Could this be their season?
Well, when you look back, Shade's first year, he was 1-8. His coaching staff is second to none. Guys from the NFL, and not saying because they played in the NFL, they actually coached in high school and college as well. They walked themselves up. He hired a guy named George Pugh. If you guys don't know George Pugh, he was in the first class of black athletes to go to Alabama to play on the football team. So I'm telling you his age. He was All-American tight end, but he coached for Texas A&M. He coached at LSU. He coached at Alabama. He's coached a lot of places. So he helped Sam Shade put together a great staff, and they went from 1-8 the first year, 1-9 to 8-2. And if you look at the game last year against Benedict, they had several opportunities to win that game at the end. And they didn't. They fell short. They fell short from a great coach, Chennis Berry's team. So it doesn't surprise me where they are now. They sit at 82. They on an 8-game winning streak. They got great defense. Sam Shade is an Alabama guy. He believed in running the football. He played in the secondary in the NFL, so his secondary is impeccable. Being on a Division II level and watching other teams and coaching on Division II myself, they do a lot of things in the secondary that causes David Wright, who you guys know is the leading passer in the nation, and he's about 127 yards of throwing 10,000 yards in his career.
Wow.
But he struggles. He struggles when you change the formation. So it's definitely going to be a great battle. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be flying out here on Friday to make sure I make it down to the game.
Keish?
Well, I'm biased. I'm on the other side. I just left Clark Atlanta, so I'm literally on Ted Keaton's side. And we had some different conversations, and I think when it comes down to it, me and Coach Keaton, we carry that same HBCU connection. When you working with limited resources, and I've followed Clark Atlanta on the upper side of almost 10 years. I've covered Clark Atlanta and Morehouse for almost 10 years. So when you talking about some of the stuff that he told me, what coaches are getting paid, and you got coaches that are limited resources. These are all HBCU people. We're not talking about people that didn't play for PWIs. You doing it because you love these kids. You doing it because you know what you can do. So you talking about they have had losing programs for years. So we leaning heavy on him to bring it back to Atlanta. That's just I mean, the last time Miles was there was 2021. They won it. So then you get 22, 23, Benedict wins, but now 24. They said it in the beginning, from worst to first. They said it. I had a chance to talk to Ronnie West, had a chance to talk to a couple of those guys in the beginning of the season. Talked to Coach Keaton about it, and they said they were going to do it, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, the question was about Sam Shade, so I was just giving you a background.
I'm not taking anything from him. I'm just really just saying what.
Oh
Coach
no, I was saying
his resources.
I was just saying I hadn't gave my choice yet. That's all I was saying. I was just, he was talking about Sam Shade.
I already know your choice, though.
You led with that, so that's why.
I mean, it's not a secret what your choice is going to be. It's just like, who was talking about family not too long ago? Man, it was a Saints player, and he bought tickets. He used to be with Kansas City, and he bought tickets for his whole family. And he said, some reporter said, "Hey, who your family going to be pulling for? Who bought the tickets?
Hello,
who bought the tickets?
That's like who likes you working for him? Yeah,
yeah. Come on. Let's get for real. But seriously, in all seriousness, man. Before Wilt answers your question, but Keisha brought up a great point. We see a couple of teams being transformed this year, and Clark Atlanta is one of those teams that's gone from worst to first this season, or trying to be number one this season. But a lot of that had to do with changing of the culture, and you did that at Texas Southern as well, right? Talk about how difficult that is of a process. A lot of people think, just like what Chennis Berry is doing at South Carolina State, that's a cakewalk. Well, but it's not that cake.
Yeah, it's a lot of distractions when it comes down to coaching a football team and program, and so that's one of the number one things is cut down some of the distractions. Clear the field, clean office, make sure everybody know how to come in office, make sure the kids know how to approach practice. Make sure the coaches are all on the same basis as structure and practice. When we get there, everything is lined up administratively, making sure they understand, you got, and one thing about Teddy Keaton, because I've been to practice there several times, they still have some distractions that they had to work through, like when they come out to practice, the band is there, just the drummers are there, and they beat the whole damn practice.
Really?
And I just like, what? And then they got the dancing girls running around the track, and then they got the cheerleaders down there at the long jump. And I always kid him, that I said, man, you got the most distracted program in the country.
But is that by design or what?
Well, it's somewhat by, because in HBCU football, sometimes they don't understand. Rocky, one of my guys on the show, how we even got into this. He was like, he don't think that black college take football serious, and it's some truth to that. To make sure that there's some priorities, whether it's priorities during the football season, that the football team got the stadium, or whether it's the baseball team or whatever. And I understand that Clark being acres restricted, that could be a problem. But and that's some of the things about what he done. How the team carried themselves. He changed the logo. He cleaned the office up, and he hired some good coaches. He did hire some good coaches. So that's the thing. And then one of the things I remember when I was at Texas Southern, we don't talk about losing no more. We don't even use the word. And I think he brought some players from where he came from at Allen. I think they brought in about 20 players from Allen who already knew the system. And so the other guys, and they had to get rid of a lot of guys as well, because a lot of guys didn't want to do what they wanted to do. So all that went into changing the culture of place. They still got a long way to go, though. Long way to go.
Because the band surely was out there tonight.
Oh yeah, they're always out there.
It's okay. It's okay if you come after practice, but just, I mean, of course, I've been out there.
They came before practice, so they pushed their practice 6 to 8 because they were performing for the basketball game with Howard and Tennessee State. I don't know. I say the same thing. It's just too chaotic. It's just too chaotic for me.
Yeah, it's just the drummers. The drummers they just beat, and I can't understand why they can't.
Don't like noise. That's me. I don't like noise.
Once they give them a van and ride to the other end of the campus and beat. It's just crazy, Coach.
Sound like Coach wanted to take that handle and start beating himself, man.
Will, you hear yourself out there?
It's on you, Will.
So, Coach, some people look at this game as more of like a David versus Goliath. Obviously, Miles probably has, a little bit more talent per se than Clark Atlanta, coming into this game. But what would it take for Clark Atlanta to get the upset against Miles or get the win against Miles?
Well, they played before, and
right.
I had a chance to watch the film, and I've also, you guys know I'm an analyst for HBCU Gold, so I had one of the games against Allen. First and foremost, Clark is going to have to take away their run game. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to force him to throw the football. I know Sam Shade. I know his background. I know where he come from. That's what he want to do. They want to establish a run to be able to get some passes. Number 2, and most important, they can't turn the ball over and give Miles short fields. If Clark come out and turn the ball over, which they did the first game, they had a punt block. They threw an interception for a touchdown. They can't get there. They can't. One good thing about Clark, though, they play great from behind. In several of the games, they came behind. They beat Bethune-Cookman from behind. They beat Allen from behind. They beat Central State from behind. So they play good behind. But you don't want to get behind a Miles College team that can run the ball. They run the ball great. But, like I say, in coaching, you can put an offensive team out there against air, but if they're going 80 or 90 yards, it's going to be some drop balls. It might be a guy jump off sides. It might be. So those are the key things. That, you can't turn the ball over. You got to be able to stop the run game.
All right. Got to be able to stop the run game. Talk about the quarterback. You said, Mr. Wright, if you give him some pressure or different formations, he's having trouble reading those. Is that something you kind of discovered in this game?
One of the things, I had a chance, they asked me to sit down with David Wright and talk with him. And one of the things that, this year, it ain't about throwing for 3,000 yards and so many touchdowns. It's about winning championships. And matter of fact, one of the things I told him, I happened to have my championship ring on, and I told him, I said, man, when people come back, they don't look for stats. They look for who's wearing, one of those rings. So you got to be able to do what's right and don't be out there statting plays. That boy up at Colorado, he would be even way better than he is in yards, but they stat building, instead of winning football games. So that's the first thing that we talked to him about. Second thing is about managing the game. You got to know when to get up in there and run. We're talking about Shakur Sanders and the whole nation was, they need the protection. They need to protect it. Well, you only get 4 seconds. And after that, you got to get up. And sometimes you got to see it before it happens. As a quarterback, you got to step up, hit that back foot. If who you trying to throw to, your primary, you hit that back foot, you should be down to your secondary. And those are things that David got to do. And David got to put the team on his hand. If David Wright run the ball more this game, he will put a lot of pressure on Miles' defense. Watching him myself, Clark like to go no back, being 3 wide receivers right, 2 left, and they don't even play a middle linebacker. They move everything out because he's not used to throwing the football. Running the football. I'm sorry, running the football. They sometimes run a little twist up the middle, but he's got to be able to get out of there and run and not force passes.
Okay. All right. That's Coach Johnnie Cole. Coach, can you stay with us for a little bit longer?
Yeah, Coach. I love to talk football.
All right. We will be back after these messages.
November is American Diabetes Month. And while nearly half of us have diabetes or prediabetes, every story is personal. There are stories of strength.
Every day is different. Not one day is the same.
Hard work.
No es tenerle miedo realmente a la enfermedad. Es saber cómo combatir la enfermedad.
And heartbreak.
When she passed away, it was because of diabetes.
But no matter your diabetes story, we fight for you and to find a cure. Join us at diabetes.org.
To the inconsiderate monster who has been stealing my pudding, I hope your conscience eats at you as you have eaten my pudding. Bring my pudding back. I wish you the worst, Dale.
Beautiful words. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I am genius.
Come to McDonald's and treat yourself to the Grandma McFlurry today.
So I trust everyone's read the prospectus. Lance? Why don't you take us through it?
Let's get into the prospectus.
Okay.
I am genius.
All right, let's blow the whistle, baby. I'm Kyle T. Moses here with Coach Johnnie Cole, Keisha Kelly, and as well as Wilton Jackson. We're going to go and dive into that. Let's give you your predictions before we get into the MEAC as well as SWAC. What's your prediction on the CIAA game? You already said you're leaning toward Virginia State, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Will?
I'm going with Virginia Union. I actually picked Virginia Union to win last week, so I'm gonna stick with Virginia Union. But I have a lot of respect for Coach Frazier. I know his background. I know what he's been able to do with his teams. I know they're going to be well prepared coming into this game as well. But I just think that I think Virginia Union is going to get the job done on Saturday.
All right, Keish.
I'm going with Wilton. I'm going with Virginia Union as well.
All right. We got 2 against 1, and I'm going to break that tie. I'm going to have to say, let's go with the Virginia State Trojans. All right, it's going to be a little even. And I'm only saying this because all season long, I'm with you, Will. I've been Virginia Union. I've been ranking them high. But what I saw in that game and how those guys were playing, how tenacious the Trojans were playing, I was like, this is a different team, and they were ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're gonna see a lot of what you saw last week in this game again. Like, this is a game that could go either way. I was actually on another show saying that. I was like, this is not a game where you can truly say this team is gonna win because to what Coach Jones said. Like, this is a team that they're evenly matched on nearly almost every category, and it's gonna come down to who's gonna be able to make those key stops, or it could be a special teams play.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And let's turn our attention to the SIAC. Of course, Clark Atlanta. Do you need to abstain from this one, Coach? I mean,
well, I'm gonna give my predictions. You know, when you're ready for them,
okay. What's your prediction, Coach?
Well, you know, my heart say Clark Atlanta, but my coaching mind has to go with experienced group. I think Clark, this is going to be a new era for them. They went from 0 to 7-2. It's the best record in 50 years. First time in the championship since 1972. I've been around the program. I like Sam Shade. I like their coaching staff. I'm in love with the coach staff, with the maturity of their staff. They've been in games like this. I think this is going to be something new and for Clark. I hope the kids don't get caught up into that. But I'm gonna pick Miles in a close one.
Okay, so if later on we need to go see and check on Coach and his brother and see how these guys are doing, we need to have some family therapy. We know this is where it stems from, guys.
Well, we real coaches, you know what I mean? We've been there and done that.
Gotcha.
Because I've won a couple championships, and we went to the playoffs, and we felt we were prepared, but it ain't like being there. It ain't like you've been there, you've done it. It's just a different vibe.
I got you. Keish, what's your prediction? Keisha?
She might have went out.
She can't hear. Okay, Will, what's your prediction?
So I'm gonna go with Miles. I think, to Coach Cole's point, I think that Clark has had an extremely, really, really good year. I think that this will be a new space for them. I think that this won't be the last time you see them in this particular space. This is a program that's definitely on the rise. I think Coach Keaton has definitely not only made them put together a good team this year, but I think he's also put together a program that he's done well with recruiting and bringing players into the program, and to Keisha's point, with limited resources. So I think they get there this year. I just don't think they get over the hump. So I'm gonna go with Miles.
Okay, Keish, are you back with us?
Yep, and I'm gonna be the reason. I'm gonna be the Clark Atlanta person. I'm gonna be the reason. I'm rolling with Clark Atlanta. I've rolled with Miles before, but I'm not a homer. I'm from Alabama. Coach Keaton's from Alabama, but I'm taking Clark Atlanta. The underdog or not, coach or not, everybody has an opinion. I'm rolling with Clark Atlanta. Now, Coach, we're going to come back here again with this now. Next week, we're going to talk about this. But no, I'm rolling with Clark Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. Come on now. I'm in Atlanta. So I'm rolling with the Panthers. This is something they definitely need. And to your point, I can't disagree. Y'all see Morehouse.
Even though they beat my team down last week, y'all didn't have to do that. I'm just saying. Clark Atlanta Panthers, y'all had better home training than that.
Listen,
so anyway,
Morehouse gave them a game though. They gave them a game. They just had a few more plays, but they gave them a game. But
before we even get off that, guys, Keisha did the commentary, the color commentary for the game. Congratulations, great job, Keisha.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was very proud of you. I got to go with Clark Atlanta with the underdog. I just love the underdog. So I'm going to have to give those guys some support. But yeah, logically.
Yeah, and then he beat them up, and then they're going to be arguing. Clark Atlanta and Morehouse will be arguing back and forth.
That's what families do. That's what families do, baby. Yeah, so that's all it is right now. So that's what we got. We got a split there as well. So 2-2 on that end. So let's jump into the MEAC. But before we even get into that, guys, let's listen to what Coach Wade said in the press conference this past week.
The support has been overwhelming. I can't begin to tell you how much it's meant to me, meant to this program, for everybody who's reached out to us, to my brothers on this call, the coaches who've reached out, calls and texts, Eddie Robinson, Coach Maynard, Coach Hamp, Coach Thomas, Mickey, that's to name a few of those guys. Of course, TC and I had moments before and after the game. So thank you guys for that. Just kind of reminds us on why we do what we do. It's bigger than football, and we get paid to beat each other, compete against each other, but just to get those calls and texts meant everything to me, and I just want to say thank you guys for that.
Coach, you know, you've been in the ranks of having to deal with some controversy within the programs. How difficult is that for a coach to be able to handle?
Well, you know, when we sit in these homes and talk with these parents about, you know, what we're going to do and what we can do for your son, we don't expect for them to come to the university and not ever come back home.
Right.
So it's a real tough thing for a coach because they all real dear to your heart. You know, you don't coach this game necessarily to make money. You coach this game to build men, you know, both spiritually, academically, as well as athletically. And, you know, to be in that position, I know it's tough and I know it's hard, you know, and you know, it makes you go home and have your own children and make sure you hug them even tighter, you know, but, you know, things like this happens, you know, and you just got to be prepared, not only just as a coaching staff, but as a university as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Prayers go out to not only the university, but the family. And that's one thing that we kind of forget. Family has been severely impacted by the loss of this young man, as well as his friend who was driving the vehicle. So anyway, let's move on to the SWAC. Coach, let's talk about the MEAC first before we get into the SWAC, because I think SWAC give you a lot of pleasure to talk about. But this guy here, I think this is a good friend of yours, right?
So leave it on the field for them. Leave it on the field for them. Everything we want is right here, guys. This ain't a get hype speech type of day. But your mindset got to be in the right place, and let's go dominate this football team. We're the better football team. But leave no doubt, when the clock hits 0, 0, 0, 0, who the better football team is. All right? And we got to go take it. They don't give it to us. We got to go take it. So when we come out of this locker room, we're going to start fast. And we're going to maximize every drive. All right?
Man, what does that do for you to see what Coach Berry is doing right now over at South Carolina State?
See, me and Coach Berry, we go way back. You know, we go back to the 80s where we were with the Chicago Bears together. You know, and at that time, you know, I hate to say it, that he was a whole lot heavier. And we used to race back to the room to fall asleep to get up for the next day for practice because he could snore like a lion. But you want to talk about it, and he used to talk the same way, you know, so it don't surprise me. Man, this guy is a coach's coach. You know what I mean? Forget about a player's coach. He's a coach's coach. And he draws attention, and he has those kids' attention. He has one of the formulas of winning, you know, that I always talk about. You know, I was just talking the other day. I had my brother on my show the other day because they wanted to ask him what is it about him that everywhere he goes, he wins a championship. And he just said one thing about discipline. And that's one thing that Chin and Sperry are going to sit down and you know, and a lot of times, you know, when you look at coaches, only 25% of coaches have a winning formula. You know, you can go here, there, where, and you can win anywhere. And he's one of those guys. And, you know, it starts with discipline. You know, I've watched a game where a kid had a personal foul, and when he took the kid out, he pointed to the locker room, had the police escort him to the locker room. So that's the kind of guy he is. You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, the kids are different. I think the way we handle them is different. You know, and I still believe in the old ways. So, and he does too. And that's why he's a championship coach. And he's always going to be hard to beat. You know, he's always going to be hard to beat. So my hat go off to Chinnisberry and South Carolina State. And I'm still mad at TSU because they didn't take it. But go ahead, Coach.
Coach, now you and I talked about that.
If they would have just called me and asked me, Coach, who you think should be our next damn coach? I would say it ain't a question. It ain't a question, Coach.
He was one of the first to be called. I do know that. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to leave it there. So let's...
They got all them guys in the room that ain't never put a helmet on, Coach.
All right, Coach. We'll talk about that later. You're going to try and get me in trouble now.
Yeah, I forgot you are in Houston.
Get me in trouble now. I'm already on the hot seat.
All the truth is coming out.
I'm so tired of being on his Facebook page with all my alumni. They keep on saying, "What's wrong with our program? It's cursed." It ain't cursed.
All right.
You just keep picking the wrong people. And you have the right person.
All right, Coach. We're gonna go on to the next.
Look. Since you don't pay me, at least I can sell myself. But go ahead.
My goodness. I told you guys, watch out. Coach is gonna bring some smoke. Always does, man. All right, Coach. Let's talk about the MEAC. South Carolina State against Morgan State. Man, Morgan State has been having some cardiac moments as well as of late. But they've been putting some pressure on some guys. Can't be overlooked, right?
Coach Wilson is a defensive guy. Coach Chennisberry is going to run the football. He's going to run the football to set up the pass, as he did to North Carolina Central. Pound, pound, pound. Then he throws it over top to number 0. I can't think of
Caden High.
Yep. That's his kid. They pound, pound, pound over top with speed. Coach Morgan is a defensive genius. And, they do some good things on offense. They're not real explosive, but they're good. But again, turnovers. And I know if South Carolina State turned that ball over and give Morgan State short fields, it could be a long day.
Well,
Coach, when you look at this game, I think it goes without saying is the idea of like, can Morgan State score enough points? And in the last couple of weeks, they found this source of offense that they've tapped into. Do you think that they will have that same success against South Carolina State?
I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think one of the biggest keys to every game like this that plays good defense and run the ball is special teams. Special teams will determine field position. Field position is real important. You might get caught in the middle of the field on a 4th down and asking yourself, should I go for it or should I kick it? I think in this game you should kick it every time and try to make the other team go. I think Morgan State, nobody's put pressure on Phoenix enough, the quarterback itself. I don't think he handles pressure well. Of course, when he get out of there, he can hurt you. He can hurt you with his legs. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's good enough to read coverages. I think people didn't think that of him because he can and he is mobile. But I think you need to put some pressure on him to get the ball out of his hand or make him make quick decisions.
Okay, Keish.
I think I just want to echo what you said because we talked about this before about their defense. And I think that's spot on. But no, I think what you said is pretty much spot on. I totally agree.
Okay. And let's turn our attention to the SWAC now. Right now, Jackson State is the top dog in the East, and Southern, the Jaguars, they're bringing it up and bringing something to people. Coach, I see your face. I see your face. I see your face. So talk to me about the Jaguars.
Boy, they hobbling to the doggone championship. They got a dog's leg, pig ear, frog foot, leprechauns. Man, they must have holy water all in the locker room.
Throwing those little Bibles.
Yeah, ain't nobody won that many overtimes in that many overtimes. Yep. You can't you gotta take your hat off to the fight that's in them. You gotta take your hat off to those kids that never quit, never stop, and think they can win every game. My school had them in the last 41 seconds. All they had to do was run out of bounds with the punt and make them go 80 because they can't go 80. They stumble. You don't know what Southern team is gonna show up offensively. Most of the time it's the one that can't go 80 yards. They need short fields, and that's what's happening for some reason against Alabama A&M. I looked at the score watching the game. A&M go up. Next thing you know, they pass here, tip ball here, they down, and they score and beat A&M. I don't know. Look, if I was a bet man, I would not bet against him. So what's gonna happen this week? You know, what's gonna happen this week is look, I can't coach that good because I don't know what team's gonna show up for them.
Now, Keish, you know that's your alma mater.
Listen, we just glad we just glad we made it one extra play. We glad we made one extra play against Texas Southern. But as Cal called us prior, we are the Cardiac Cats. Yeah. 5 overtimes, and I'm with you, Coach. I don't think I've seen any other team have this many overtimes. Right. Prairie View, Texas Southern. I'm like, y'all, seriously? It's like we love just going into overtime. We love it. Yeah. We love it. And we don't know what team is going to show up. But we can't overlook any school, any team.
Yeah.
Let me stir the pot.
Coach, I'm gonna make you laugh.
Go ahead.
So Coop was over, we were outside on, you know where the balcony is of the press box, right?
Yeah.
So Coop was on the other side, and I was talking to Kim Davis, and I'm like, oh, Texas Southern's about to win. I said, look at the clock. There's still time left. As soon as I said that, he misses the punt. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, man. It was a somber mood in that press box and as well as at that press conference. But anyway, but I have to give but Coach, and that's what I was about to say, Coach Graves said, we're the Jaguars. I said, all right, pump the brakes.
That's the same thing. No. Yeah. We're number one. Yeah.
That's how we work with Alabama A&M. Same thing. Same thing.
That was too good. All right, Wilt, talk about the Jackson State guys with Coach.
So, Coach, obviously you watched tape on Jackson State where they are obviously outstanding quarterback play in Jacoby and Morgan, but obviously with Jackson State on the offensive side of the ball, it starts with their rushing attack. My question for you is, if the running game isn't as strong as it has typically been in previous weeks, where does Jackson State turn to? Because obviously the run sets up the pass for them just like in any other team. But what happens if Jackson State struggles to run the ball?
You know, I go a long way back. I seen T.C. Taylor as a player. You know, we played him when I was a coach at Alabama State. We beat him like 68-61. And I said that to say he's a throwing guy. Mm-hmm. And I said all year when they lost to Grambling, when they turned the ball over 5 times, I said T.C. Taylor will be the reason that they go to championship, and he will be the reason they won't go to a championship because he's actually calling the plays. Mm-hmm. I think that he's matured up. I go back to myself when I was a young offensive coordinator in the OVC. You know, I could throw the ball all over. We was averaging 300 yards, but we wasn't winning football games. Yeah. And then, Nick Saban went to LSU, and my brother Nick know each other. We went down there to go visit them, and they taught me a lot about the run game and how important it is and quality control. So I say to T.C. Taylor, when I had opportunity, he came on my show and stuff that you got to run the football. You got to run the football, and they play great defense. And I think he's matured up not only as a head coach but as a coordinator, that he runs that football. I mean, they average over 200 yards rushing. They up in the nation in rushing the football. And being a receiver himself and a pass kind of guy, I think he's matured a lot. They are crushing everybody in our conference. They way ahead. Not only, I keep on saying his maturity as a head coach, is out the roof. Evidently, he picked up he had 2 great guys to follow. He followed Deion Sanders, and he had a host of great coaches over there. And then he followed another kid out. I recruited a kid out of high school. He's coaching. He's in the pros. Was at North Carolina Central. Jerry Mack. I'm sorry. Yep. Jerry Mack.
He talks about him a lot.
Yeah, Jerry Mack is a phenom in this game. Of being a great coach. So I might have to go out to T.C. Taylor. It doesn't surprise me none. I look for him. And I know you don't supposed to count ends before they hatch, but they will be representing SWAC in the Celebration Bowl.
All right. You heard that from Coach Johnnie Cole that the Jackson State Tigers will be the representatives. Keisha, I know you got a lot to say about that, but we'll talk a little bit more about the SWAC going forward. But I would like to say this. There's been a couple of really stellar play in the SWAC by some really good players. One, Giovanni Gibson, the young man from Pine Bluff, the wide receiver, and as well as you've seen what Irv Mulligan has been able to do with the Jackson State Tigers. What are your thoughts about those two players?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, I think the the wide receiver, man, he's fooled everybody in Pine Bluff. You know, I because he's out of New Orleans, and I had to ask Mickey Joseph. I'm like, man, how did you guys let
him go? He's out of Opelousas, really. Opelousas.
Yeah, Opelousas. You know, and he said, man, we had the kid on campus, but we just didn't have enough room. And I was like, wow, man, this kid is a phenom. You know, a great guy. You know, a great catch. You know, he can make things happen. He can create separation. He's long. You know, so anybody that plays them definitely has to double up. If not, he could really be a thorn in your side.
Okay, and what about Irv Mulligan, the running back?
You know, most running backs, and you know that's why they hire the running back coach last. You know, and even people even go say if you don't hire a bad coach or your friend, make him the running back coach, because you know when you recruit runners, you know they got to have vision. And there's something that you can't teach. They got to feel it. They got to be knowing when to slow up, and he got all that. And the two things that makes it even better. One, every time you get tackled, he going forward. And number two, one man is not bringing him down. You know, great backs don't let one man bring him down. So I take my hat off to him, and you know, he really make things happen.
All right, let's talk about coaches of the year. Who are some of your front runners of coach of the year for the entire HBCU nation?
You know, it's funny that you brought that up. You know, on my show, we were giving each first year coach a grade. But what we find out, Coach, is that all of them are new. All of them are basically being head coaches for the first time. And, you know, that's the answer to all this. You know, one would say, well, it's parity, which is great for fans. It's great for fans. But when you look at the coaching thing, you look at all these, you know, all these mistakes and all, you know, about what's going on in the game. And nobody is really, you know, if you look stat-wise, nobody's really scoring a lot of points in the second half. That means you're not making adjustments, or you're running out of things to do, or you're not setting up plays. You know what I mean? So all that's this coaching. You know, a lot of the coaches talk about penalties and being offsides a lot. Like, you know, we all have Prairie View, you know, in for the runners. Now they one of the worst teams in the conference. So when you hear Coach Bubba McDowell, who I got a lot of love for, you know, he's saying, well, we got to put the right players in the game. You know, I don't get that. You know, and then you have this up and down. You know, we up, we down, we up. You know, even though Southern is if you're on a scale of 1 to 10,
we consistent with our overtime.
Yeah,
we consistent.
Consistent at 4, meaning any day somebody can beat y'all at 5 or 6. You know, but consistent. So when you see that, you just wow, who is coach of the year? You know what I mean? Well, Eddie Robinson, you know, 3 years ago he was selling houses. Now, and this is no put down on these guys. This is a saying just where we are as a conference. I can do that. Hell, I'm a senior. I'm 60 years old. You know, you got the new guy over at Alcorn. You got new guy at Texas Southern.
Right.
My man second year at Pine Bluff. Mickey Joseph at Grambling had never been a coordinator before. So, you know, head coach. You know, Maynard is one of our granddaddies, and And TC Taylor, who knows the conference inside out, is making things happen. And Coach, my man over at Alcorn State,
Cedric Thomas.
Cedric Thomas. So I don't know. Do you give it to Graves? Who got a great stadium, great background, great following? Do you give it to TC Taylor? First time coach and the head coach. I don't know. It's a good choice. It's a good toss-up.
We will pick that up at another date, and we'll have you back on in a couple of weeks, Coach, to be able to talk a little bit more about that. We are at the end of the show. It's been a great show. It's been great to have you as always, my friend.
Thank you. Thank both of you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You guys gonna be at any of the games, championship celebration bowls?
Yes.
Yes.
Make sure y'all holler at me and say hello.
We'll definitely do so.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to
That's
go.
if I'm still alive from all these overtimes, Coach. I might be paying that by then. I don't know.
She'll be alive.
She has some heart.
By then.
Yeah, she has some heart palpitations early.
All weekend long.
I definitely be with the championship. I really think the T Graves and the Southern Jags is going to win one of these two games.
Oh, pray for us, honey. Pray for us. Pray for us.
All right. That's Coach Johnnie Cole. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. That's Wilton Jackson and Ms. Keisha J. Kelly. Thank you guys for following us. Don't forget, go to Black Sports Insiders and follow us online on all social media platforms, as well as go to HBCU Legends. You can follow me, KTMOZE, at Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And we just try to give you guys the best we can in HBCU sports coverage. I'm Kyle T. Mosley again. You guys have a great one. Thank you, Coach. Take care.